Shall we play?
Hello. How we going, Brad? Hello, Dave. I don't know how many people will tune in today, but we shall see. Just finish typing what I'm typing in the chat. I've just dropped a link into the chat. Brad says it's nice and sunny and warm in Hervey Bay. Well, that'd be a nice place to be. I'm not in Hervey Bay, I'm in Melbourne, and it's cold, but it is going to be sunny today, although right now it looks a bit grey. I'd actually love it to rain, because I've got about 3 tons of crap to take back to my mum's house now that her renovations are finished, and we can give all her shit back. So I'd like it to rain, so I can't do that, but there you go. Anyway, in case you've been living under a rock, let me just turn this down because I'm probably yelling at you. Just turning it down for me. I've made some audio changes, by the way, so if the game is too loud or too quiet, please let me know, because I noticed on my last video it was very quiet. Where was I? Yes, free French content for Train Sim World, and of course Train Sim Classic, so free to download until 2nd of June. And there are links for all of the different things. For those in Australia, use the EU links for both Xbox and PlayStation. Don't use the US links. There's Steam Store and Epic Games Store. I've actually got the game on all platforms, so I intend to get everything on all platforms because I'm like that. See, I'm a hoarder. I am a digital hoarder. There you go. So make sure you grab this stuff. Even if you're not sure if you want to play it, just get the key in your library, because once it's in your library, it's there. Even if you don't ever download it, it's there. So if you ever want the option of playing in France, you've got it. So there's an article for TSC and there's an article for Train Sim World. The keys work for... I should get the Train Sim Classic key as well. The keys work for 2 and 3. So it's the same ones. Hello, Monty Burns Gaming. Sunny and warm in England. That seems like an anachronism, but that's okay. I'll stop stirring English people. Alright, I'm hoping I've got stuff set up because I got everything ready for the stream. Let's just get this thing started anyway. I got everything ready for the stream and my computer went, I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm just not. I'm just going to sit here. And I'm going to flash my little thing at you, and that's it. So I had to reboot it, and that's the second time that's happened in 24 hours, so clearly something's changed. Conductor to engineer, Amtrak train 582. As scheduled departure time was 4:10. It looks like we're departing about 5 or 6 minutes late due to some connecting passengers. Here's an interesting fun fact for you. In the English-speaking world, do you know that timetablers deliberately make sure that there is a train departing from a station somewhere on the network at 4:12 p.m? No one knows why, but you'd find a pretty rare timetable in the English-speaking world where there isn't a train starting at 4:12. Just thought I'd mention that. Begin to load the passengers now, but await my clearance for departure. Good-o. We shall load passengers. That means pressing the T key. And we're in Lopt, wherever that is. So we are running in a fairly old route for Train Sim Classic, which I naturally enough picked up in a sale, which is just finished, or is it just about to finish? One or the other, I'm not sure. I think it's just finished, actually. So it was a good opportunity to pick up some old stuff. This is Los Angeles down to a strange little place that's almost in Mexico, but not quite. Oh, it wants us to go down all the way down here in San Diego. And my grand plan, if my PC survives, is to in fact run all 3. Haha, rail driver works. Do I need to cut the brakes in on this? I probably do. There you go. Why did it make noises when the brake wasn't cut in? But anyway, let's see what happens. Looks like the brakes are off, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. It looks like the brakes are on. Normally the red needle would be the brake cylinder pressure. Maybe it was cut in. No, it's the other way around on this one. The white needle is brake cylinder pressure. Clearly this makes no difference. Oh, it's the handbrake. That wouldn't be a handbrake. That would be your brake cut-in lever. But anyway, that's fine. Let's get out of here. So it's a bit of an older DLC, so things like Windows and the like don't work. Oh, it does have a passenger view. I wasn't expecting that in such an old DLC, but there you go. So we're in one of these Surfliner trains. There are also pseudo Metrolink trains on this route. It doesn't look a lot like Los Angeles, I have to say, until you get round to certain angles. There's a few buildings here and there, and if you go up in the air, you'll just be really sad. So, don't. Because it is an old route. The hills look nice. We got headlights on? I'm not sure. Got tail lights on. There we go, that's better. It's sort of not clipping the platform. That's okay. It's old. What are you going to do? Actually, that's interesting. Listen. The bell's quite quick, and we go outside. The bell's quite slow. Discrepancies in sounds. People would be all over that these days, but in the older ones, no one seemed to care. I suppose that's an interesting question, isn't it? Hey, Crazy Dash. Do we expect too much from DLC? We used to be so happy with DLC that just kind of let us drive trains, but now we want so much realism. It's an interesting question. Do we expect too much? Or do we expect... Should we expect what we're getting? Or should we expect more? I don't know. It's an interesting question. What do you lot think? Ooh, that's a terrible sighting distance on this signal, but it is at back to green, so it's okay. We slowly cruise out of Los Angeles. Hello, David Park, Crazy Dash, Monty Burns Gaming, and Dave Randall and Brad MacArthur. So you're having a holiday, I assume, Brad MacArthur? Up in Harvey Bay? I'll be going to Tassie in the not too distant future. Yeah, it's interesting, Crazy Dash. We certainly expect a lot out of our games these days, and granted that the technology that they operate on has changed rather a lot. I mean, that sort of frame rate as 150 odd frames per second would have been unheard of when this game came out. It just wouldn't have been possible. So, to get any kind of frame rate back then, there would have been a lot of compromises. 12 AM in France, Crazy Dash. Ah, lovely place to be. And in fact, good segue, because all of the French routes are in fact free. I didn't put that. Yeah, I've put the links to the 2 articles about the free Train Sim World DLC for Train Sim World 3 and Train Sim World 2, and the free Train Sim Classic DLC, which is the Marseille to Avignon for Train Sim World, and for Train Sim Classic it's Marseille to Avignon with the extension to Lyon. And if I mispronounce those names, I apologise. Over here to our left is the thing laughingly called the Los Angeles River. I say laughingly called because I don't think it's had any water in it for about 30 years. You may remember it from films like Grease, where they drove up and down it. It had a little bit of water in it then. And Crazy Dash has ridden the TGV. Excellent. Walking around Paris for 2 hours straight. Fantastic. That's the kind of thing I do when I go overseas, is I just wander around. I just love doing that. Just seeing the things that are different. And I don't just go to the nice places of the city, I go to the shitty parts too, because I want to see what everything's like. Yeah, I have friends who live in Pasadena. They're both retired JPL engineers, i.e. very smart cookies. And one of them specialised in space, and the other one specialised in water, which is a weird thing for JPL to do, but they do. And he actually said that Los Angeles simply will not have any more water by 2035. So their only choice is to desal, because they've basically drained the artesian basin in the valley. Which is bad news for the people who still grow food in California, because that's where their water comes from too. We should probably speed up. But I think there's a slow patch up here somewhere. But we'll speed up for now. Ooh, Jackies. The 4 key changes so quickly these days, doesn't it? It just doesn't sit still for very long. What is that following the train? Oh, that's funny. What is it? It's a coupler. Yeah, it's definitely a knuckle coupler. It's just calmly following the train. And that's where... Do you know what? We've got a carriage missing. That's not just a lonely knuckle coupler that's following the train, because if you look there, you'll see that there's another knuckle coupler and a drawbar connected to the last carriage. We have an entire carriage missing. That could be a result of me mucking around trying to get the Metrolink logo to work. I hacked the route a little bit. Maybe I broke it. We'll just have to pretend that, yes, this is the sound mod for the F59. Well picked, Crazy Dash. Yes, I've lost my cab car. Oh well. As they say in the classics, and that's okay. Oh, this is the bit where I was supposed to go slow, wasn't it? I talked about it, and then I didn't do it. What a bonehead. It's alright. Gravity assist will get us down to the slow speed before the corner so we don't go flying off the track into the neighbourhood. Because that'd be a little bit embarrassing. There we go. No problemo. Yes, it is definitely the sound mod. I didn't think the sounds were actually all that bad, but then I found the sound mod and put that in, and I'm still contemplating whether I prefer it with or without. I'm not sure. Haxarus, hello. No, it's not shipped like this. It actually did have the cab car before because I was using it, but I was hacking away at the route trying to get the Metrolink stuff to work, trying to get the logos to appear. And I think I've probably broken the cab car. But that's okay, we don't need the cab car for this run. I am setting the cursor. Let me get rid of the cursor. Won't let me get rid of the cursor. Not you, do what I want. Not what I am doing. Do what I tell you to do. There we go. Cursor gone. That's better. So what kinds of things are people playing at the moment? And what have you picked up in the Madness sale? Actually, I think this is a silent crossing, so I won't. In fact, it's not a crossing at all. It wasn't a road, it was a train crossing. This is a crossing coming up, though. Here's me doing 14L and Metra's not even here to hear it. Dave Randall's playing Midland Mainline. Good bit of fun. In Train Sim World, I assume. Here's a question of interest, because I'm curious. Who hasn't gone to Train Sim World 3? Who's still on 2? Axarus says there was nothing on sale that they wanted and didn't already have. Yeah, I struggle with that too, but I actually bought 3 things in the sale. I got this one, Pacific Surfliner, and I got West Highland Extension. There's another missing cab car, and an AI driving it. That's spectacular. And little puffballs of smoke. And I also got a couple of pro-level steam engines for Train Sim Classic. Because I like driving the pro-level stuff, but I don't like paying the pro-level prices. So when there's an opportunity to get a suite of locomotives for $8 each, I'm going to take it. Because contrary to popular belief, ambassadors do not get everything for free. I'd love it if we did. Brad says he upgraded to TSW3 when he got a free key from me. That's cool. It's handy when we give those away. Axaroo says that he owns an obscene amount of TSW DLC. Yeah, I know that feeling, and most of it's turned off. For the simple reason is, bad things happen when most of it's turned on. You can almost feel the warmth in this area, can't you? Los Angeles is a natural desert. Probably should have been in Notch 8 a long time ago, but we are now. Interesting warrior patterns on the roof there, and there goes our friendly little coupler. You can be higher so we don't hit poles. Dave Randall says he has only one DLC to get on Train Sim World. Which one are you missing, Dave? And Monty Burns Gaming says he bought quite a few things in the sale yesterday. It's nice to fill up your catalogue of stuff. One of the challenges I find is having a lot of stuff is you run into analysis paralysis on what do you play. Los Angeles is going places, apparently. Hey, I didn't realise the We Are Rail Fans hashtag was this old. Hello NJT, welcome. Dave Randall hasn't got the UP livery pack. Don't think I have a giveaway key for that one. Don't tell anyone, but we're going too fast. As we cruise towards Fullerton. I haven't ridden this train in real life, but I have ridden the Amtrak trains in the other direction. The Coast Daylight and the Coast Starlight. There's only 2 American train trips that I haven't done that I really want to. Well, one of them's not strictly American, it's North American. I want to do the Rocky Mountaineer. And I also want to do the, as in North American continent. And I want to go to Cass at some point. I almost got to Cass on my second last trip to New York, back in 2018, before the world turned to poo. I had these grand plans. Clearly I should be slowing down, not paying attention. I had these grand plans to drive from New York to visit Cass. And on the day I was going to do it, I got up and I just didn't feel all that well, and I thought, no, I'm not going to drive for 9 hours. Because I'll end up crashing a car somewhere on the freeway. So I just hung around in New York for the day and felt miserable. Oh, that's why we have to slow down. Points change. Oh, it's a silent area, and here's me whistling away. Stop whistling then, before they complain about me. Hello, Manuel Perez. How are you? NJT says Friday for him. Yes, indeed. Saturday for me. And there's non-whistle areas. I don't have to. There's something I'd like to have in Train Sim World. Moving excavators. Still don't have them. They still just sit there. Even though they're a bit wonky in what they do, I'd love to have them. I miss them. NJT says, just installed LGV on Train Sim World since it's free now. Indeed. I actually thought I had LGV, but I cranked up Steam and had a look and discovered I actually don't. So I'll be getting it in the sale as well. But I was pretty sure I had it in Train Sim World too. Non-whistle area. Brad says his favourite TSW3 routes are all German. There is a lot of German detail in the German ones. The German team are quite good at filling the routes out, and I'm pleased to see lately the UK routes have got lots of nice clutter. They feel much more lived in. Peak for me is in fact the Peak. It looks really good. Yes, NJTE, I have an invisible cab car. I was mucking around with the route trying to get the Metrolink logos to work, and I think I have done something bad to the Amtrak cab car. Hey, I love the curved wires on the poles. That's spectacular. Wow. See, the things that we put up with in old DLC. Clearly we'll ignore the sign. We'll just give it one long blast. Not that I understand why you whistle for that anyway, because it's not a road. But anyway. I'm meant to ding the bell, am I? Okay. Bell dinging. Dave Randall is gutted that he's already has LGB and done all the scenarios and finished the timetable. You know, I am quietly impressed, Dave, that someone has actually finished a timetable. I'm quite impressed. I'd be vaguely surprised, Crazy Dash, if there were any NIMBYs in this area. This looks very industrial. I suppose some weird people do live in industrial zones, don't they? Some nice rolling stock placed over in the yard there. Good to see. That's something else I've noticed happening in DLC more recently, and it's something I keep poking them at in beta land, is put stuff sitting on the side tracks. It makes the place look lived in. It's much better. Bruce asks, how many hours do I have in Train Sim World? You know, I can't really tell you because I go back and forth between the different branches. And they actually record their stats in different places, in different versions of Dovetail Live, so I don't actually know. I'd have to add them all up. It's not a small number. But I think Dave Randall maybe has got the jump on me if he's finished entire timetables. That's a lot. Even a small timetable's a lot. Visible cab car. Why does it sound like a helicopter? think that's the track sounds. That sounds like a helicopter. It is a diesel loco, Emmanuel Perez, a diesel electric. It's probably fair to say that most Amtrak locomotives are diesel. There are some electric ones, but mostly diesel. On the west coast, they're exclusively diesel, and on the east coast, northeast corridor, there is quite a bit of electric stock. Interesting footbridge there. Crazy Dash says Atherton on Peninsula Corridor is full of ultra-rich NIMBYs. Yeah, I used to live in the Bay Area. Yes, familiar with the collection of people you are talking about. A friend of mine who did live in the Bay Area worked for Google. He started out with Google in their networking group and is actually responsible for the design of the petabyte network that spans the world, which was the first physical petabyte network and the first one that spanned out of one country. And about a year ago, he still had, another 15, 20 years before he was due to retire. And he had to look at the stock options that he was given when he started out, because of course he started with them in the early days. And he discovered that he had about $3 million worth of stocks. So he quit and sold them. And has enjoyed a very early retirement, which has made him very happy. NJT says he's got the Series 200 layered onto Southeastern High Speed, and once he gets the ROG and 700, your Southeastern High Speed will have all the timetables and scenarios. It's interesting that out here in the suburbs it's not a quiet zone, but in the industrial area it was. How weird. That's okay. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it copes with a full timetable. I think people on potatoes might be sad with a full timetable, and that goes for the old consoles too. And potentially even the Xbox S that I have, given it's only got 12 gig of RAM, not 16. Haxarus says people out here finishing timetables, and he still has several DSC he bought months ago and haven't even started playing. Well, that's not that unusual. Dave Randall has finished Cane Creek. Well, that I'm impressed with. That wouldn't have been exciting. Oakville, Holiday Express, and LGV. Well, there you go. Props to you. Only 5 miles to Fullerton. The route feel, the ambience, has changed a little now that we're out in the suburbs. Haxarus says, TBH, the best thing that could be done to make routes feel more lived in would be to spend time expanding existing routes and adding more stock to them. What I would like, and I know this is a little bit of a pipe dream, but what I would like is the ability to add my own stuff so that I can add things and populate the route to make it look the way I want to look it, and the performance implications are on me. They would be my problem. I would like to be able to do that. Just to be able to edit the route, to put a layer of crap on it. A layer of rolling stock. doesn't even have to interact with the game. Just have it sitting there. Like this stuff is just sitting here. It makes it look so much better than an empty yard. You can't go over there, you can't touch it, you can't play with it. But it just looks good. NJT says there's two Amtrak electric locos, the ACS-64 and the Acela power car. There's a little bit more than two NJT. There might be two current ones, but there's actually quite a rich history of electric locomotives in Amtrak. It's the AEM-7, there's the GG-1. There's quite a lot of older stuff that they inherited. There's, I think, two AEM-7s are actually still in use in yard shunting duties. There's no GG-1s running anymore, sadly. That would be nice if there was. NJT agrees that Southwestern High Speed is diverse in terms of rolling stock to choose from. Axaroo says he thinks he has everything to layer onto SCHS and his PC runs fine. But it was very high end about 5 years ago. I have very recently upgraded mine and spent a ridiculous amount of cash. I've moved from, I think I had a Generation 8 i9 processor. I'm now on Gen 13, which is the current one. I didn't change my processor speed very much. I couldn't get the exact same speed. I got one that's just a little bit faster. I've upgraded from DDR4 to DDR5 RAM and doubled it, so I've got 64 gig, which isn't important for the game. The games don't use it, but it's important for my photo and video editing. It makes that much smoother. And I was also quite fortunate in that the 40 series video cards have significantly come down in price in Australia, and I was able to buy a 4080, which makes me quite happy. Hello, Violet's Inspiration Soup. How are you? Greetings to the western side of Melbourne. Hopefully it's a nice day out there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching Fullerton. Please get your belongings together if you are getting off here, and don't leave anything behind. NGT, that's a long list of stuff. I don't think I'll read that out. Monty Bone says it's weird that there's a 79 mile an hour speed limit. This would have been pre-PTC, wouldn't it? So yeah, it is weird that it's a 79 mile speed limit, because I think the Amtrak trains probably travel at closer to 100 in reality. Because 79 is the speed limit that railroads that chose to not adopt PTC have to stick at. They're not allowed over at 79 because they're not allowed to do 80. Should probably turn the lights off when I'm coming in here, shouldn't I? I want me to go all the way to the end of the platform. I'd say the brake physics in this DLC aren't very good. In fact, I've just gone beyond equalising. That's not technically possible. But that's okay. NJT says no AEM-7s in use at all. I actually thought there were two in New York. And GG1s can no longer operate due to the raising of the voltage on the NEC. You should build a converter. Build a converter in a car with a big rotary AC converter. That would be cool. No more HHP8s. Monty Burns Gaming says I don't think America has any diesel locomotives. All aboard at Fullerton. We annoy everybody before we start off. because you have to. Next stop, Disneyland. Home of dreams and paying for them. NJT says one is being tested as a non-powered control unit, basically a cab car, but it's a low-code. All the things that make it move removed except the control stand. Ah, is that what they've done with them? That is in reference to the AEM7s in New York. That sounds vaguely smart thing to do. NJT Axarus says none of the HHP8s are still in use, but Amtrak still has them in storage because their contract with Alstom still hasn't finished. Monty Burns says his PC's from 2015. That was about the vintage of mine. It runs the game fine on high but not max settings. I like max settings. He's a good bloke, Max. Mr. Settings. NJT says another reason you have to do less maintenance on 79 mile an hour track than 80 mile an hour track. Yeah, that's quite possible. Crazy says Amtrak does 90 mile an hour. Sadly, you don't see it past Santa Ana. That's how it is in real life as well. Probably because of BNSF owning the tracks. Yeah, it's an interesting arrangement they have in the US where the private railroads own the tracks that Amtrak operate on. And by law, the private railroads are not allowed to get in the way of Amtrak or slow them down, but the reality is quite different. They'll have a million reasons why it was okay to slow Amtrak down that day. Here the track is entirely government, well, my state anyway, entirely government owned, and it's operated by a body called VicTrack, who control all of it. We'll just pretend that was 4, okay? Hello, Metra. You're back from your horsies. How was your ride? Emmanuel says he's in love with the ACS 64. It is a fun locomotive to drive, definitely. Don't know that I'm in love with it, but it's a fun locomotive to drive. And Monty NJT says they do have DMUs such as flirts. We have flirts in Australia too. We have flirts and kisses, in fact. We have both kinds. In fact, Violet was showing a train on her channel the other day that is actually a flirt. Pretty typical looking southern Californian homes here, where they're all made of asbestos because it's the only thing that the local ants doesn't eat. I always found American house buildings kind of funny, but we do it here now too. The concept of putting up a frame and covering that in plywood and chicken wire, and then sticking on some blue board for insulation, and then putting render on top of that. Oh no, I'm whistling in a non-whistling zone. Oh no, what will happen to me? I guess we'll just keep going then. Dave Randall says kisses are better than flirts. It does make you wonder what they'll call the next generation of trains, because we've had kisses and flirts. Are we going to have... I don't know. I should keep this family oriented. You could use your imaginations, I'm sure. Haxarus says that 79 mile an hour thing is a weird regulatory thing from 1946 with the CB&Q crash outside Naperville. After that you had to install automatic train stop or you couldn't run at 80 mile an hour, so most roads went to 79. Here's me almost missing a crossing. Coming into Anaheim, next stop Disneyland. Home of everything make-believe that'll make you forget your crappy life in the crappy world for just a little while. I know someone who's completely obsessed with Disneyland. The V-line diesel trains that don't have locomotives, are self-propelled, those are flirts, Violet. Victorians do often unkindly call them dildos. Especially the purple ones. Violet watched a video yesterday on why Melbourne trains whistle so much. I think I know that video. They actually don't whistle that much compared to American trains. Our rules are quite different. Now stopping. Anaheim. Get off if you're getting off. Watch that first step. It really does want me to go all the way to the end again. Switzerland has a train called the Smile. Excellent. And Violet says the next train should be called the Shag. Why not? That sounds like a good idea. The rules for Victorian trains is basically that it's up to the driver. Because what the rules say, and I'll paraphrase them, I won't give you the actual rule because the rule's like this long, but paraphrasing it into one sentence is that the driver blows the warning device as loud, as long, and as with much repetition as they feel is necessary for the situation. So in other words, if they're approaching a crossing at 2 o'clock in the morning and they can see quite plainly for a long distance on either side that there's no one there at all, they actually won't blow it at all. Highball for Santa Ana. That's an old term. Who knows where the term highball comes from? Monty Burns says high-speed rail is not really a thing in the US if most of the railways are limited to 79. Oh, there's plenty that run faster because they actually have to have positive train control these days. You can't have a railway without it. Only commuter railroads get away with not having it, and because most commuter railroads share track with freight railroads, they still don't get a choice. They have to do it. Caltrain is one of the few exceptions, and even now, their new trains, the electric ones, actually do have PTC. Even they've given up. Dave Randall says, kids after kisses if we're being family friendly. Well, I suppose that could be the result, yes. We don't really have fast railways here either in Australia. Our top speed's 160 kilometres an hour. Ooh, we're allowed to whistle, so we won't. We'll be rebels. Alright, we will. As we cross a river that's got water in it. What? How does that happen? Must be leaking in from the sea. People in this area not rich enough to stop the train blowing its horn. And Dave, if you think that kids come from kisses, we should have a chat, young man. We now leave the land of hopes and dreams on our way to Santa Ana. Haxaroo says, surprisingly, Texas is one of the first places to get flirts in the US. Why is it surprising that Texas did it? Big curve, lots of brakes, lots of brakes, lots of brakes. All the people in the back there are going, "Way!" Ladies and gentlemen, you may proceed to the club car for your complimentary coffee to replace the one that you just dropped in your lap. Mr. Mayhem, hello. Very noisy bugger, aren't I? It's another crossing. What do? Just keep blowing? I suppose so. People through here, clearly not rich. Must totally hate Amtrak. I kind of think a train called the Shag would start in Scotland. Don't know why, I just do. Crazy Dash says we're not building enough high-speed rail. I think that's true everywhere except Europe. Europe's got the lead on that one. I did see that one of our Indonesian neighbours, who has trains from their capital out to several of their regional cities, has now banned air travel to those regional cities. You have to take the train. That's one really cool thing about a non-democratic government, is they can just do stuff like that and everybody goes, yes, that's a really good idea. We agree with you. Please don't shoot me. Violet says, from a drink and a type of glass, our weird Queensland tracks are different to the rest of the country. Yeah, they have 3'6", but they weren't alone. South Australia used to run 3'6" too. Victoria has 5'3", yeah, 5'3", 4'8", which is standard gauge, and 2'6". Almost at Santa Ana. Dave was being family friendly, doesn't need a chat, that's good. Mr. Mayhem says wishes the computer was as good as mine. We run trains similar to approximately 20 FPS. I used to. Yeah, okay, I forgot the 4. It'll be an interesting world because Steam is dropping support for anything earlier than Windows 10, which means that people with older computers won't be able to get DLC and updates anymore, which is a bit sad. Why am I blowing all the way back there where the whistle sign is? That's such a Victorian thing to do. We blow where the sign is. NJT says it's weird because Texas is one of the most car-dependent states in the US. Well, I guess they had to be progressive on something. I visited a friend of mine in Texas once, and he made me carry a gun so that I wouldn't get killed. This was amusing and terrifying at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Santa Ana. If you're getting off here, I'm sorry. Stop now, train. You have great brakes until you don't get to the end, and then you don't stop. That's okay. Catching up with things while we're stopped. Crazy Dash says Dallas, the only city in Texas with somewhat okay public transport. They at least have TexRail and the DART. Haxaroo says the Katy Freeway exists. Violet says Mayhem would be a good name for a train. Yeah, probably would. Haxaroo says China is building enough high-speed rail they could do with working on their station placement. China's a different world. So they'll build a station, and then they'll build a city around it later. Off we go. Now departing Santa Ana. Off to Irvine. Mr. Mayhem says Dovetail Train should really make Australian locomotives for Train Simulator. There are a couple that are available as updates to other trains, but the A2 is available, the D3 is available, but the trouble is you have to own about 50 DLC because they draw from all over the place, so it's kind of annoying. Even me that has lots of them, I can't run any of them because I don't have the base DLC they need. And I'm not buying them just to get one, because I don't have anywhere to run it either. There is a guy who's building a... which one's he building? La Perouse, I think, from Sydney. But he's been building it for the last 10 years or so. And he puts up screenshots every now and again. It looks really good, but he's never released any of it. So, one day, it's a personal passion project. I'm sure he enjoys driving it. We never get to, sadly. Here's your 90s own Crazy Dash. I think the reason China's building so much stuff, I mean, they have whole cities that no one lives in, called ghost cities. But they build that stuff so that everyone has a job. You could argue that it's the uber rich convincing the government to build that stuff to make the uber rich even more uber rich, but that couldn't possibly happen in a communist country. Now, could it? No, couldn't possibly. Me? What? Politics? No. Violet got an email from a random person she met on a train from Texas. Excellent. That seems fair. You're going to go ride the K190. That's excellent. Mr. Mayhem, enjoy the ride. Have fun. Put some video up. Hello, Pugface Music. How are you? And yes, I agree. Violet is an Aussie legend. NJT says the entire Melbourne Metro for Train Sim World when this will probably be one of Paul's favourite routes. Yeah, our metro runs cross city, so trains from Werribee come out to Frankston. I think trains from Sunbury come out to Frankston too, actually. So that would be good. because that would get freight and passenger. I personally would like it in the 1970s era when we had a lot more trains. That would be good. Monty Burns asked, are there any Australian routes in Train Sim Classic? Well, that depends on whether you consider our eastern neighbours in New Zealand to be Australian or not. We often consider them just to be extra states. In that case, it would be yes. But because they actually really are their own country, no. But there is Midland Line in New Zealand, which I play quite a bit. Violet was just thinking about Pug and he appeared. Did you say Candyman 3 times? By any chance? And they are local to me today, you're right. Crazy Dash says he's going to go to sleep. It's 1:30 AM. Alright. Have a good sleep, Crazy Dash. Emmanuel says, surprisingly, China does have the best trains. Well, reputedly. Who knows whether they really do. No train for these guys. Ooh, I spun all the way around. Hello, a really useful engine indeed. How are you? Violet says yes indeed, and they don't drive the drivers for all of it anymore, just one line. You do still move around on the Melbourne Metro network, but you do have a home line that you work on. But you can get moved around when they need it. Ooh, a gradient in California. Wow. An actual gradient. An actual gradient that's making my train slow down even though it's in Notch 8. Excellent. All good. NJT says HCMTs are beautiful. I don't actually know what an HCMT is. I'll have to look them up. And pug holes sounds so unfortunate, Violet. Conjures up the most interesting thoughts. Off we go with our invisible cab car. How could a hill hurt a modern diesel with only... How many coaches have we got? 5, and one of them's invisible, so it doesn't count. How could it be hurting this much, really? Violet wants the airport link train. Oh, it'll come one day. It always gets announced, they do stuff with it, then it falls victim to somebody or other. It's gone again, I think. Next stop, Irvine. Crazy Dash says the F-59 really struggles with these greys. The SC-44 handles them like a champ. Ooh, he's mentioned the Charger word. Do you know, I think Max Hole sounds worse than Pug Hole, Bug. Well. You said you were going to sleep before, Crazy Dash. Should we believe you? Are you going to do it this time? The HCMT is the new Melbourne Metro trains. Well, there you go. I clearly don't ride the current Melbourne trains very much. It's because I only live 5 kilometres from work, so... And the other railway I work on is a steam railway. We have no electric trains. None. Not one. We do, however, have diesels. We have 4 diesels. 2 big ones, 1 middling one, and 1 little tiny one. Hello, funny IRL clips. How are you? Welcome. Next stop, Irvine. Irvine, home of the most fun things to do in California. I only say that because I don't know what's in Irvine. Not even sure I've ever actually been to Irvine, to be honest. People of Irvine, get off me train. NJT forgot the Crazy Dash is in Switzerland. Yes, he's travelling. He's enjoying the world. Violet likes the V-Line trains. They're always better. When I lived in Melbourne, the highlight was the V-Line train, that big comfy seat. And as you cruise along down past the freeway, particularly when you get into the city... it's time to start the next one. Good. Particularly as you're getting close to the city and you could just watch all of the cars and you go, well, sucks to be you, stopped in traffic. And so I cruise by in my comfortable seat. Look at that. They're reminding us that everything's free this week from the 26th of May to the 2nd of June. Not everything, sorry, the LGV. We made up considerable time, but now we lost a bit back due to heavy passenger loading here at Irvine. So I think what they're actually saying is, fang it. Settle my stuff up again, because I forgot to neutralise the rail driver. Alright, off we go. They are a lot more comfy than the metro trains. The other thing I used to like about the V-Line trains was passing metro trains as you come into the city and you come down the inside rail. And you'd see all these people plastered cheek to cheek with every part of their body touching every part of someone else's body. Like a gigantic public transport gangbang. And you're sitting there in the V-Line train with your nice comfy chair looking at them through the window going, hi! Yes, NJT, all the French routes in Train Sim World 2 and 3 and Train Sim Classic are free for this week until the 2nd of June, and that's 2nd of June in the UK. So if you're in Australia, it's until the 3rd of June. But don't wait, get it now, get it now. Fang is a great term. NJT asked, do you have the TSC routes that are for free right now? Kind of. I have both TGV, DLC, and I have the extension, but I don't actually have the main route, so I've got to get onto that and download it myself. I had grand plans to make videos, and I asked for keys early so that I could make videos on them to promote it, and they only gave me the extension. And it doesn't work when it's only the extension. You need the main route too. That's life. So I shall get the main route today, and I shall make a promo. So we accelerate up the 1% grade. Bit of struggle city going on. The F59. Always funny to see what the inside of the train looks like. There are no passengers. Can I recline my chair? No. Bum. The good thing about being a passenger is you simply wouldn't know if that signal was red. As you drive through the outskirts of downtown Irvine. Dave Randall is off to the National Rail Museum next month once he gets his plaster off. What have you done to yourself? And I assume you're going to the UK National Rail Museum, Dave Randall. The one in York, I think? I think it's York. And yes, Violet, they are very much like sardines. It's a very good description because when you open a can of sardines, every part of each sardine, especially the ones in the middle, are touching all of the other sardines. That's very much what it's like in a Melbourne commuter train. And you certainly don't want to be short because you'll end up with your face in someone's armpit. And at least they've gotten rid of the majority of the sideways facing seats in our more modern trains, so you don't have to deal with someone's crotch in your face. Violet says she loves when someone talks in the quiet carriage and they get pounced on. Yes, people are very protective of the quiet carriage, aren't they? But talking should be okay. Just not yelling. Another invisible cab car leading the train there. I will have them after this stream, NJT. I will download the last DLC that I have not downloaded yet. So, shortly, but not yet. Dave Randall broke his ankle while sleeping. How do you break your ankle when you're asleep? Violet says they push them on with sticks in Japan to get more sardines in. Yes, Japan is a funny one. Japan also the home of the most rail groping videos. There you go. There's a stat that you probably didn't need to know. This could get quite disturbing if I leave it on this, couldn't it? So I won't. You can watch the world get populated from nothing into something. Oh, how fun would that be? If only it was real. They do have a fairly efficient high-speed system in Japan. I wouldn't say their rural, semi-rural systems were particularly efficient. Well, they're going to hit 100 mile an hour in a moment. Probably shouldn't do that. But, you know, it is what it is. Let's see if dynamic brakes work in this thing. Well, they make noise. Whoop, no, there goes the gauge. Alright, they do work. Very good. I just want a little bit of them, a little bit of dynamics. Come on, gauge. Too much. Double-deckers in Sydney, yes. We actually had a double-decker in Melbourne for a little while. We had one. It was a weird train. The drivers hated it. Another river with no water. as we head for San Juan Capistrano. My belly's on, you just can't hear it. It's not my fault. Dave Randall has no idea. He just woke up and couldn't walk on it. Was told it's probably due to having it screwed together after breaking it playing football. Or maybe the screws corroded and gave way or something like that. Little pedestrian crossing. As we come off the gradient. This is actually the first time I've driven this route. Giant rock balls. Clearly no one got those rocks off. We come back into a gradient and soon have to stop for San Juan Capistrano. I'm glad you're starting to feel better, Dave. Stripping wallpaper, that's such an exciting job. You actually can't open the window in this one. The DLC is so old it doesn't offer that, so I would love to, but no, I can't. Sorry. Those weird ones with a crossing in the middle. Never quite understand these stations that have a road crossing in the middle of the station. You can stop now, train, honest. Anytime, whenever you're ready. Clearly it's ready now. San Juan Capistrano. What happens in San Juan? Let's have a look. Well, it's quite big. It's very windy here, clearly. And just sit under the umbrella here and feel the holiday mood. Dave enjoyed stripping the wallpaper, just needs to decide on paint colours now. Do purple. You know you want to. Let's have a look at the station, actually. All aboard. You are cleared for the run to Oceanside. Very good. But we're having a look at the station. We're busy. I suppose the train can leave, though, can't it? How's the coffee? See, you're regretting getting that coffee now? You missed your train. Look at that. Shouldn't have got the coffee. Ooh, crazy serial killer man. Watch out for the invisible car. Anticipate a meet with Sarah with northbound Amtrak 7785. You'll likely be required to stop and wait for a few minutes until he clears the single track from San Clemente. Dispatcher out. Very good. Let's go and talk to these people. Do you guys know that you're actually standing in the middle of the road? You do? That's okay then. Yep, no problem. You guys just keep standing in the middle of the road. I'm sure no one will come and run you over. It's all good. How you doing? You're just spinning. This is kind of funny. We could just stay here all day, couldn't we? Ah, well. Bye-bye. Well, this signal's green. Hope it didn't mean we had to wait here, but probably not. I think you should do purple, Dave. Hopefully we won't have a cornfield meet with that other train now. But the signal was green, officer. Here we go. Yellow signal. Purple, purple, purple. For those of you in Australia, it is the last day of Reconciliation Week this week. Just thought I'd mention it. Purple and red. If you mix them together, you'll just get blue, you know that. I'll just slowly cruise through this area so we don't have to do a boring stop. It's a fairly well populated little area. They've gone a surprising distance from the train with the scenery, really. That might have been helpful to run the bell, huh? No yellow, Dave. You draw the line at yellow, huh? Still going to go slowly so we don't have to stop at the signal that's coming up. We may still have to, but we shall see. We have been warned, after all. See, I've got lots of people lurking today that aren't in the chat. Feel free to say hello if you'd like to. As we cruise towards Oceanside. So, route-wise, we are in all the way up there. And we've come from all the way up there. As we head downwards. Is that a train up there? It is. We won't have to stop now. That's good. Ramp it up. So the other one has cleared the single track. And our signal has gone green. So off we go. We shall ignore his invisible cab car. Dave Randall says his football team's major rivals wear yellow, so no way he painted that. Wolverhampton by any chance? Cruising into the single track section. Not wolves. Okay. They're the only ones I can think of that are yellow, though. Clearly shows you how much I know about UK football. Or soccer, as we'd call it. Because here we have different games that we call football. Hey, we're down by the beach. Come on. Welcome back, Violet. If you haven't seen Violet's channel, she does inspirational, arty, fun things. Very strong encouragement for people to take part. So if you'd like something that's significantly different to my channel, go and have a look. Violet's good fun. And if you like watching police be held to account and unfortunate people get what's coming to them, go and watch Pug's channel. But he also does a lot of musical content, which is kind of cool. Metro says that Metrolink is going to stop at Oceanside starting tomorrow. Oh, that's cool. Aren't they electrifying this metro? Ah, the 40 zone coming up. This railway clearly can't make up its mind. He does have a collection of channels, doesn't he, Violet? I have another one too, but it's sort of just life and photography stuff. Getting back into the studio next Saturday, actually. It's been a while since I've had a studio shoot. Hopefully I remember what to do. The young lady who calls herself Sailor Moonica. Doing a shoot with. That's the Victorian Railways way of doing a whistle. Just let them know you're coming, and if they don't get out of the way, oh well. Where's my cat? I don't know. There are 0 cats in sight right now. I do use mods sometimes, Metro. I don't use mods in new content because I want to show it off the way it's been delivered, so that when people see it, they aren't disappointed when they run it themselves. But when it comes to old stuff like this that's ancient, I am quite happy to bung in mods to make it better. In fact, with Train Sim Classic, I nearly always run a mod because I run RWE, which re-renders the game. Makes it look better. Sometimes I even forget to turn that off for new content, which is a bummer. I always try to remember, but I don't always. Hello, San Clement. Goodbye, San Clement. Like a nice sort of spot, doesn't it? Nice little wharf out here. St. Clement Pier. Nice place to go for a walk. There's a train going. Oh, it's all the way out there. You can see the programmatic algorithms in the water. We're still binging. I wonder how many times they get people climbing over the rocks and run over by a train. This would clearly be the home of a rich person up here, up on top of the hill. And what do you do when you're passing the home of a rich person as a train driver? You just let them know you're around. Where does that crossing go? What do? They just fall off onto the beach? That's just bizarre. Go to 12%, says Metro. I think I need a bit more than 12%. Going up. I do believe I'm in Notch 8, Metro. Full thing. As we cruise through the delightful seaside area. So I've got a bit of a hill coming up. Doesn't sound very good outside the train, does it? A little bit of a bridge here. slow curve coming up. It'll do. I reckon this would be a fun trip to drive in real life. Messing up the gratuitous bridge shot. Join the 101 freeway. And power back up to the 90 zone and climbing the hill. Coming up on some sort of little seaside business. What is down there? I think we need to have a look. Surely we need to go and have a look. Ah, that looks like a nuclear power plant to me. Could be. It's either a nuclear power plant or giant concrete breasts. One or the other. Should we let them know we're here? Of course we should. Not a lot of scenery at this end of the line. On our way to Oceanside, approaching Onofre? Onfree? Oh. Something. To any Californian who thinks they won the Mexican-American War, look at the names of your cities, suburbs and streets. I don't think you did, somehow. Cleaner is stalking me. I wonder what was banging into my chair. Must be a popular spot to go surfing with all of the non-waves. A lot of people park there for no readily apparent reason. Trucking business up there. Hello, Caleb. Welcome. Hopefully you're good. Just cruising towards Oceanside. We come out of Los Angeles some time ago. And this is part 2 of a 3-part scenario kit. Hopefully you guys can't hear the vacuum cleaner that's tooling around behind me. Probably sounds like a train. Maybe we'll step outside the train. Strange things you find embedded in your keyboard sometimes. Piece of a chip, but I can't think of when I last ate chips here. It was a while ago. Isn't this the weirdest colour for apple juice? Strange. Tastes fine though. Caleb is just having dinner and was stationed in Oceanside when in the Marine Corps. That's pretty cool. What's the main claim to fame for Oceanside? Apart from invisible cab cars. We're making up some time here. We're doing a little bit of spirited running. Approaching 100 miles an hour. We are just a little bit late. We're out here in the middle of nowhere, so who'd know? As long as we don't come off on a curb, it's all good. It's quite deserted out here, isn't it? Night, Dave Randall. Go for purple. You know you need to. Little Quonset hut up on the hill up there. This is where we get to the top of this hill and discover a red signal at 105 miles an hour. It's the 101 freeway with an ambulance. Just in case this signal up here is red when I'm going this fast. Just in case. To build up some civilization. Little industrial area over there. Got a 75 coming up, so I'm just dropping speed for that, in case it's a curve. Because I haven't driven this route before, so I have no idea what's coming up. This does look like a Amtrak servicing facility. Merging with another line. And we must race up here because there's a gratuitous bridge shot coming. Well, it's going to look better on this side. There we go. That'll do the screenshot. Not all the bridge reflects. That's funny. Passengers, we are now approaching Oceanside. If you are leaving us here today, don't forget your children. Any children left behind will be sold. That's a strange mixture, isn't it? 2 light planes and a big dump truck. Oh well. As we approach Oceanside, got some auto racks and some gondolas off to our left there. Do you know why the auto racks got closed in like that? It's because people kept stealing car parts from cars on the move. They were the Amazon parcel thieves of their day. They'd climb onto the moving auto rack car and unbolt all the stuff and take it away. Another non-reflecting bridge. That looks so funny. Now, we are also coming into Oceanside, so I should probably start thinking about stopping. Looks like we're changing tracks here too. Because there is another train in front of us. They look cool, those palm trees. Big hotel of some kind. Being just a little bit early, too preoccupied with the excavator. Oceanside, this stop, Oceanside. Let's stop a little bit early, but who cares? Not me. Hey, there's Circling Lady. She got on the train. Metro wants to do more US passenger routes. We shall see. This is why someone yells out, "All aboard." Well done, very close to being back on time for the final leg of the journey, which we will start now. This one's marked difficult. We shall see. Coaster Train 662 scheduled ahead of you has been annulled, and Amtrak CNOC and NCTD have agreed you'll make all station stops from Oceanside to San Diego. You'll have to do the best you can to keep on the timekeeping. Dispatcher out. Carlsbad Village. Brakes off. And away we go. So we're stopping all stations now, huh? Better act like a commuter railroad then. More power. Welcome aboard the Amtrak/Metrolink service to San Diego. We are now stopping everywhere. She's struggling to accelerate. Off we go. The gate's open, we all want to know. Yes, they do. And the cars drive. Cool. Next stop, Carlsbad village. All village people prepare to get off. That is Chief, construction worker, cop in leathers. What was the last one? I can't remember what the last guy was. It's been a while. Shut off and forget about accelerating now that we're coming up to Carlsbad and we have to stop anyway. Gravity will start slowing us down for the village approach. I may even have to give it power. We may not get up there. That would be funny. Has anybody else noticed that siding's not connected to anything? It doesn't go anywhere. Oh, the station's in the middle of it. I've got a road in the middle of it again. Oh, excuse me. I was reaching for the mute button, but I didn't make it. My apologies. I sneezed in your ears. Carlsbad Village. If this is where you're getting off, it's time to do it. Doors open. This is an Amtrak train pretending to be a Metrolink train. Doors are closed. Next stop. Driving technique adjusted to commuter. Notch 8, let's go. We cruise to board Carlsbad Poinsettia. That's a flower. Dispatcher to Amtrak 582. Expect to meet Amtrak Extra 6915 North on the double track section between Carlsbad and Ponto. Dispatcher out. So they turned into Aussies. They call Poinsettia Ponto. Very good. Our last crossing coming up here, leaving the village. The village. only smile at Christmas. I don't know if they ever smile. So we head for Pontosaurus. Like another big power station off to our right there. Southern California, home of the power station. This one doesn't have any concrete breasts, so isn't that sad? Must be oil fired. Judging by all the tanks. Giving it all the bananas today. Holding no bananas in reserve. The double track section does go on for quite a way, so shouldn't need to worry about that meat too much. Passengers, we're now approaching Carlsbad Poinsettia. If you're into plants or beer, this is the town for you. Is there other train coming up here? The one dispatch kindly told us about? Keeping the power on this time to get into Carlsbad, this could be a mistake. We shall see. Cab car's invisible, mate. Just what you want to know. Radio, if you're getting off here, it's time. Jump to it. Welcome to the land of the double wide. That one's floating. Just saying. "101's growing grass." Excellent. Highball for Encetus. There's a double wide we can stand on the porch of. There isn't one. Ah, it's alright, we'll just watch from here. Just peer over the fence. Encinitas. I assume that's how you say it. Seems fair. Say we're doing the big hill climb, but we're not really. It's only a little pissy hill. The viewpoint of a hobo in a gondola. Back into single track. Seeing these mounds remind me of something I found out the other day. If you've ever travelled on Peninsula Link in Melbourne, one of our newest freeways, there's these great big dirt mounds periodically, and I always thought that's just where they dump the dirt from where they cut it out making the road, but apparently the giant dirt mounds are actually for covering up and protecting Aboriginal sacred sites. That's quite interesting. What is the black shadow following it? That's my invisible cab car. That thing. Not quite that. It's the coupler on the end of my invisible cab car. There should be another carriage there, but for whatever reason, the game isn't drawing it today. Up bubble. Next stop, Encinitas. Encinitas, where you'll find all manner of joyous things. Yep, that's basically it, Violet. Some of it was to protect them now that they were a lot more accessible. And some of it was because some of the sites they found, they actually moved out of the path of the road, put them there and then covered them in dirt, which was just a way of preserving a 60,000-year-old culture. As they compromise between building the road and not building the road. There are a couple of places in Peninsula Link I found out there's curves that don't seem to need to be there, and they're actually going around sites. It's interesting to learn. Whoever it was that asked about where's my cat before, Emmanuel I think it was, there's one sitting down here in a sunny patch, but she's too far away to get to. Next stop, Encinitas. Seems to be a busy little town, really. We had a bush tucker event at work where a couple of the locals came and showed us what you can eat on the peninsula. It's quite interesting. I had your standard sort of sausage rolls and party pies, but they were all flavoured with peninsula ingredients, and they were quite different. It's interesting. Encinitas! What does Encinitas have? Hotel? A few houses? A couple more hotels? That's about it. Nothing much else going on. This guy here's a bit weird, clearly not designed to be looked at it from the air. That looks like a gated community over there. They're always interesting. All passengers on board clear for departure to Solana Beach. Let's go. Oops. Forgot to honk. Never mind. At least the bell was on. Interesting how many New York taxis you see in California. There's little yellow taxis everywhere. Where are we route-wise? Still got a ways to go. I wonder if the route's really this bare at this end of it, or if they just ran out of money when they were making it. The other end's quite detailed. This end's quite not. Although those clips would have required some work, because that's not all programmatic. There is a bit of work that's going on there. Life's a beach. Next stop is Solana Beach. Try and make up a bit of time on the way to Solana Beach since it's downhill. It'll do. the life-saving towers. Home of Baywatch. Baywatch, probably more accurately known as Bodywatch. It's a bit rough bit of track back there. Now that it's gotten so late in Europe and US, my general viewers have dropped off, leaving diehards and Aussies. Solana Beach, get your stuff and get off. So what would a combined Metrolink and Amtrak train be called? Amlink? Metro Track? I don't know. Metrack? Who knows? Walk through poles. Comes Angry Man again. Next stop, Sorrento Valley. We have a Sorrento near us. Cruising through the ditch. What's above the ditch? Oh, there actually is some scenery up here. It's kind of surprising that there is any. Green lights. Back out into the open countryside again. Another set of auto racks sitting up there. So we cruise towards Sorrento Valley in 5 miles' time. Slightly weird place to leave a bunch of auto racks just sitting out in the main. Even weirder, they're all labelled Santa Fe. No lifeguard on duty. That's because there's no people. There's no people in this world anywhere, except on train stations. It is sort of something that I think the game could do a bit better, both this one and Train Sim World, would be to include people in other places away from the train stations. I know there's performance penalties and it uses RAM and it uses CPU, but, you know, they don't need to be there all the time. They could just be there when a player train turns up. Because it would be good to stick your head out at the beach and just see a bunch of people down by the umbrellas down there. Maybe some people in the water. It would just be good for the immersion. Going under 101 now. We cross 101 quite a bit on this track. Imagine how much fun that would be if it was a level crossing. Back up we go. 3 miles to Sorrento Valley. Has it got a ferry to Geelong? That's the question. Every Sorrento should have a ferry to Geelong. That is so weird. I don't want to keep doing that. Funny IRL. Violet and I were chatting about doing a Frankston Wander to have a look at the street art. Next stop, Sorrento Valley. Get your stuff together, get ready, get to the doors. We're in a hurry. Of this Metro Amtrak Link service. We could stream a Frankston walk. I'd probably stream that on my other channel though, because it's not exactly a train thing. And I still have hundreds of gigabytes left over from COVID times when I kept paying for my high gigs on my phone plan but never using them. So streaming for a couple of hours really wouldn't bother me in the slightest. Yeah, I understand crazy busy weeks. Work is very hectic for me at the moment. Remember folks, no stream tomorrow in the regular slot because I'm firing a steam train. Sorrento Valley. Anytime there, train. Anytime that's good for you. I am off to Gembrook tomorrow, Belgrave to Gembrook on 1338. And I think I've got 8A. Oh, there, boy. San Diego Old Town, next stop. Start climbing the hill out of Sorrento Valley. And just remember, this is a drill. Violet likes the Sorrento we have in Melbourne. Well, it's not really in Melbourne, I suppose. It's a peninsula town in its own right. Home of the Sorrento Ferry. Actually, it's not. Geelong's the home of the Sorrento Ferry, but it runs from Sorrento to Queenscliff. It just lives in Geelong. Back into the single track section as we continue to climb. Still on full power. Must be some tight curves coming up. Everybody likes a tight curve or two. Violet also likes the ferry. It is a fun ride. It's not the cheapest thing in the world, but it's a lot quicker than driving from Sorrento to Queenscliff, that's for sure. But it's weird that they say it's quicker to get to Geelong, because I kind of think it's much of a muchness, to be honest. By road or by ferry, because the ferry goes to Queenscliff and then you've got to drive to Geelong, which is quite a long way. You're going to stall, Metra. Just add more horses, mate. Heading through the tight curves of doom as we go through the hills here. Still plenty of power on as we climb the hill. Well done, Metro, on getting moving again. I assume you're back in Big Boy or Challenger or the FEF. Your usual haunts when it's not a diesel. You should find the water injectors work on those now, because the issue is apparently resolved. They're on the FEF3. The answer to that stalling situation, Metro, is TS tolls. Add another FEF3 to the front of your consist. See you shortly, Violet. Bit of the route, all curly whirly. Where are we? That makes sense. Coming through the curly whirly bit. Working very hard up the 2% grade. This would sound quite impressive if you were line side. are going down the hill, which is very windy. Coming to the top of the crest shortly. Almost at San Diego, and it'll be the end of the stream for today. Running a little longer than I planned to be honest, but that's okay. A little longer than some of the audience wanted to, I think. Let's make use of gravity to get our speed back up. Welcome back, Violet. Anyone else who's watching, feel free to jump into the chat. It's always welcome. No pressure, but if you feel like it, go for it. There are no silly questions. Just talk about what you're going to have for lunch if you want to. Yeah, we could blame Amtrak, why not? They're always late anyway. Surprised given we're going downhill that we're slowing down, but that's okay. Violet's about to do some Vegemite. Outstanding. Vegemite basically kills Americans when they first touch it, see it, or taste it. That looks remarkably like a yellow signal up there. And in fact it is. Well, that's not such good news. It's a fair way to the next signal though. I think I might keep the speed on for a little while until we actually get the next signal in sight. Metro almost broke the scenario by having violent wheel slip. Well, you shouldn't be having any wheel slip there, young man. It's supposed to avoid wheel slip. It's bad for the locomotive and it's bad for the track. Pop some brakes on. Ah, that would have been why that signal was yellow. We'll have a green one now because this train's out of the way. Lyle Gaming asks on TSW how to turn off automatic start. Do you mean with the engine itself always being running when you get to it? We do indeed have a green. Ah, you want to start while it's dark and cold. You have to shut it down. Unfortunately, there's a few scenarios where they start dark and you can start them up. But generally speaking, in the services, when you spawn into a train, it's ready to go. So its brakes are charged up these days and it's ready for you to put it into forward and release the brakes and go. So, but you can always shut them down. Generally put the brakes into, if it's an American train, you put the brakes into handle off and neutral, remove the reverser and press the big red shutdown button on the back wall for most American diesels. It's going just a little bit quick there. If UK is fairly similar, the German ones can be a little bit more complex because the German, they like being more complex. It's kind of their specialty. Yeah, you can still do that on Xbox while gaming. No, unfortunately there's not an option to start every service cold and dark. That would be nice though. That's the kind of thing I'd enjoy, setting everything up. Stanpatch Grade, I think, has probably got the most cold and dark scenarios. Make that suggestion on the Ambassador channel for you. So I do actually think it'd be cool if you could set it up so that every time you came into a service it was dead and you actually had to wake it up and start it. It wouldn't make that much sense for the services that start on the main line because you'd never shut down a train on the main line. Too much chance of not being able to start again. But it would make a lot of sense for the services that start in yards to start that way. The other way that would be cool for those services to start is that the train's sitting somewhere and you have to pick up your locomotives at the locomotive depot and take them over and put them on the train. That would also be a lot of fun. Little Gaming said, yeah, I bought the New Jersey Amtrak and thought I could start cold and dark. Well, you still can, you just have to shut the locomotive down and then start it up again. Unfortunately, no easy way to do that. On the approach to San Diego now. Gradually building up some more civilization around us, if you can call it that. For those of you who have been here since the start, thanks for staying for such a long stream. And do remember for the next week, all of the Train Simulator Classic and Train Sim World French content is free. Free to add to your collection and keep. Yeah, I think so, Lil Gaming. I like where they're going. I think there's a lot more detail to making a route have some life now, and I think that's just as important as having trains that work well. These routes need to feel lived in and used. Being a bit brave about some of their changes too, which is good to see. Still think it's funny when you see curved wires. It just doesn't work that way. They would go straight from each pole in a straight line. That's okay. This is an old route. What do folks want to see in next week's stream? Next week is back to Sunday, which might be Saturday for a lot of you. Next stop is San Diego Old Town. Bill Gaming says can't wait for the northeast corridor to be completed. Which bit would be your favourite bit? I think the entire Northeast Corridor is available one way or another through Train Sim Classic, but not Train Sim World. Looks like we're coming into a freeway maze. One of the things I always liked to do when I lived in Oakland, and when Aussies came to visit, you pick them up from San Francisco Airport and take them through the maze. You used to freak them out. SEPTA won't give DTG a license, unfortunately. So if SEPTA did come into the game, it would be unbranded. Of course, the community would quickly come to the rescue with a mod or two to put the branding on. Welcome to San Diego Old Town. I assume it's some kind of historic district, never having been here. Which is not quite true. I have been to San Diego, because that's how I got to Mexico. Didn't stop though, just drove straight through it. Train Sim 4, you reckon? What do you know that I don't know? Sounds like a cat tearing something apart near me. Please, wait. Stop that. Yes. She's got a cat tree that she's allowed to tear apart, but she tears apart the little box right next to the cat tree instead, because, you know, she's a cat. That's what cats do. So, Lil Gaming, you think that Dovetail wouldn't save Scepter for another 5 years? Well, we shall see. This would be a cool route to have in Train Sim World. That and the route that goes along the Dawlish coast in the UK, because having trains run close to the sea is just cool. Max just knocked over a pot plant and freaked himself out. Oh well, silly Max. 2 miles to San Diego, Santa Fe. You have lots of train sims, do you, Lil Gaming? Are you streaming them? I shall have a look at your channel if you are when I finish. I won't do it now, obviously. And 1, 2, and 3. Did you start with TSW 2020? Max is now denying that he knocked over the pot plant, of course. He's a cat. Cats are not only malicious and evil, they're also excellent liars. Coming into downtown San Diego. This will be our last stop today. Make sure you get your stuff together, gather your children, service animals, monkeys, parrots, guinea pigs, lizards, pelicans. Looks like a local electric rail service over there on the left. Drift our way into San Diego. We have a flashing red, which is a low speed. I think Train Sim 4 has the best graphics. There isn't a Train Sim 4 yet. my first night staying in Oakland, I was in a hotel on Jack London Square, and it was like this. Just constant train horns as they came down the street running bit. It's like, yeah, I don't want to stay here anymore. Cruising our way into San Diego. Not that I quite understand why the train's trying to slow down so much, but there you go. Last stop. This train terminates here, and will be taken back to Los Angeles by driving the invisible cab car. This driver, however, is going to take a break and move all of his mum's crap out of his garage back to her house. New York City subway would certainly be fun. Little gaming. Well, here we are, San Diego. This'll do fine. San Diego screenshot, why not? Oh, well, remember the French DLC for Train Sim World and Train Sim Classic are free this week up until June the 2nd. They're free to gather into your collection on all platforms: PlayStation, Xbox, Train, Epic, and Steam. Scenario complete. Well, that'll be it, folks. So make sure you go and grab your entitlements to the free routes that are out now. So it's everything French, basically, in Train Sim Classic and Train Sim World. Alrighty, it's been a lot of fun with you people today. Thank you very much, and welcome to the new faces like Lil Gaming, and thanks for the stalwart faces like Violet, who's always around. Great to have you. And all of the other people that were around earlier on that aren't now because they've had to go to sleep because it's ridiculous o'clock in the UK and America and various other places. Alright, thanks very much for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back to my normal time slot next week, and there'll be a couple more disruptions to the normal slot coming up in July. Alrighty. Little Gaming wonders how much TS4 will cost. Probably about the same as TSW3 if it ever becomes a thing. Alrighty. Enjoy yourselves. Wish me luck firing the train tomorrow. It's not an assessment, but it's a big one. Alrighty. See you later. Bye. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I always like to get your feedback in the form of likes and comments because they help me understand what you want. Give the channel a subscribe and click on the tinkly things so you don't miss out on any new stuff. And thanks for your ongoing support. And please, be safe out there.